Welcome everyone to Charts Focus 1, where we teach you how to work hard and trade smart. All right, let's go ahead and start off with the markets. Now, as you guys have already read, or I would assume that you guys have read the market summary in the newsletter, you guys should know that due to the outlined circumstances in the newsletter, we'll be hyper-focused on the market price action rather than individual names. And that is another reason why we're only looking at 4 individual names for this week. All right, so with that in mind, let's take a look at SPY. So SPY on the weekly time frame, again, we're not seeing that huge market crash that everyone has been touting. And, just based on the last couple of days price action, I would have expected to see a bigger and larger move to the downside, but we haven't seen that. Now, I could just be because of the fact that the market doesn't know how to move just yet, even though we've seen a lot of put options being opened across every major indices. But overall, on the weekly time frame, we're still not in that major downtrend or huge market crash. Now, obviously, this can just be the start of that potential market crash. But again, we have to focus on the present time and what the price action is telling us. And so far, we're still holding on to every single major level of support. And with that in mind, we have some very major levels of support that we need to be looking at for this week. So first of all, for any type of downside risk, you need to be looking for a potential bounce at these 2 levels. The first one is at 384.20 and the second one is at 378.50. So this second support level is the area where we previously saw that consolidation in mid-December to early January, right before we saw that huge rally once we entered into 2023. And so on Friday, we were able to retest this 384 level as a new level support, since previously it was used as a level of major resistance during this short consolidation period that we saw back in mid-December and early January. Now, the only problem here for me is that, sure, we can go down to 378.50, but for the fact that we've held this 384 level is a good enough reason for us to come back over and retest 387 to 388 and ultimately come back to retest the major SMA, which is my daily 200 SMA right here. Now, obviously, the short-term momentum SMAs, my 10 and 21, are still curling downward due to the fact that the price has moved rapidly to the downside. So that makes logical sense. But overall, the bigger SMAs, the 50 and the 200, are still in this golden cross, and we're not seeing any significant moves or a curl to the downside. And in fact, the 200 SMA is still flatlined, while the 50 SMA is still slightly curling up higher. And so I'm still very much positive on the long-term uptrend. It just all comes down to what this week will show us. So with the price action that we've seen so far, I expect us to have a nice retest at the 387 to 388 area, and potentially we can still reject from that area, but I will want to see a breakout first and then a retest of around 393, or at the very least a retest of the daily 200 SMA, which is currently sitting at 391.09 to be exact. All right, with that in mind, let's take a look at our first name. So this one, we've been in this name for quite some time. I'm looking to add to this one again, solely because of the fact that we're seeing a very, very nice bull flag forming right over here. So EURN is a tanker name, and we've been seeing such relative strength on this one for most of February, if not all. And after February ended, we saw a huge rapid increase in price and then a consolidation that is now still happening and underway as we are in the month of March. So the only thing that you guys have to watch out for this name is that there is a potential risk, an upside risk, if you guys are looking to long this name. For a fact that we can be seeing or we can be looking at a potential second high pivot point. So the first pivot point on the weekly time frame was 20.96. So this is the all-time high price for this name. And there's a potential for us to have this most recent high point of 19.18, so $19.18 to be our second high pivot point. And obviously, I do not want to see that as long as the 10 and 21 SMAs continue to catch up as both of them are starting to curl up higher. And once we are, able to see that the weekly 10 and 21 SMAs are caught up to the price, we will be able to see a nice breakout, especially if that daily bull flag holds and this sideways consolidation continues between $18 and $19. Now, I provided you guys with two early entries at 18.50 or at a bounce at 18.10. But if you guys do not want to wait and see if, actually, if you guys want to wait, for this consolidation to end, you guys can get a breakout entry over 19.20. And the reason why I gave you guys that 0.20 instead of this 0.18 is that, well, I want us to see a break over this most recent previous high point. And again, 19.18 was the most recent high point that could lead to, like I said on the weekly time frame, the second pivot high point compared to the first pivot high point of 20.96. All right, so our second name here is AMD. So this semiconductor name has been extremely strong. As you guys know, most semis have been extremely strong. If you take a look at SMH, which is the semiconductor ETF, and so far for this ETF, we've been holding above the 10 and 21 momentum SMAs and over the 50 and 200 SMAs. So if you compare this price action to the overall markets like SPY, there's a clear difference. And the difference is that, well, this sector is extremely strong based on the price action and price trend. And so AMD is currently holding above both the 10 and 21 SMAs. And on Friday, we're able to see the 10 SMA crossing over the 21, indicating that there is still a bullish momentum for this name. And for the fact that we've been making higher highs and higher lows for most of the past 2 weeks, there could be a continuation. And last Friday's low could just be another potential higher low. Now, obviously, if the markets decide to dump overnight, we can see a retest of the 10 SMA here on the daily time frame, which is currently sitting at $81.29, which is the reason why I gave you guys a early entry around $80, right? For a potential bounce at $80, because first of all, this $80 level, let me make sure it's visible to you guys, was the previous level of resistance when we were consolidating in the middle, or actually at the end of February. So as we headed into March, we saw that nice breakout over that $80 level, and we start to make this nice uptrend of higher highs and higher lows. So if we do get a nice bounce, well, first of all, a retest at 80 and a bounce at 80, we can see a retake of the 10 and 21, because I would assume that once we come back down to 80, we will breach below the 10 and 21. But obviously, I do not want to see that happen, because if you want the momentum to continue to the upside, we want to be able to hold both the 10 and 21 SMAs. Now, obviously, again, I'm giving you guys a confirmation entry as a second one here at the bottom right here. over $88. So if you guys want to stay out of this potential volatility, as we're sticking between a huge major level of support at 76.50 to a major level of resistance at 89 or 88, you guys can just wait it out until we are able to see a breakout over 88, and you guys can get a great entry from that point forward. Now, if you guys are waiting to see the consolidation play out and you're giving the stock enough room to move, there is a potential chart pattern that you guys can look out for. So we have a potential inverted head and shoulders. So we have our left shoulder here, our inverted head here, and then our right shoulder over here. So obviously, if you want to see the consolidation play out, then we can see the right shoulder being made. And once that is finished, hopefully, we can see the price continuously staying right underneath this 88 to 89 resistance area until we're able to break through and see a nice big breakout to the upside. All right, so our third name here is CRM. Now, you guys should know why I love CRM. We've had a huge, monstrous gap up during earnings, and now we're starting to see consolidation. We're seeing a nice small pullback. And obviously, we would have loved to see this name kind of hold over 180, since the gap up has allowed us to go over 180 and also over 190, almost reaching that critical whole number level of 200. But unfortunately, the last 2 trading days, we saw that huge sell-off in tech due to the entire financial sector being completely rocked out with sellers coming in strong. So in order for us to really understand what's going on here with CRM, we need to be looking at the fact that we haven't closed the gap yet, or we haven't filled in this monstrous gap up to the upside. And just for that fact, and for the fact that we have come back down to retest the 10 and 21 SMAs, there is a huge probability of us seeing a multi-day or even a multi-week bounce back to the upside. So on Friday, we were able to hold above the 21 SMA, right? So we saw the retest and then a slight bounce. And for the fact that we've had multiple consecutive back-to-back red days here, right? We have 1, 2, 3. Well, actually, I wouldn't count the actual ER reaction trading day. I'll start right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive red trading days. Okay, we are bound to have at least 1 to 2 green trading days back to back. And so using that type of a rule here, that kind of a logical trading rule of red to green candlesticks, we can see a bounce over 175, which was a previous level of resistance and support as seen in the past here. And if we're able to get over 175, I would expect us to at least retest this previous high point at 178.84. Now, obviously, the most recent previous high point is 193.91 made during the earnings gap up. But if we do get a nice entry point over 175, I want us to see a retest of 178.84 and ultimately 180, another whole number that we need to be looking out for. All right, so our last name here is Roblox, RBLX. So this one, this one is in hot water right now because it is involved with the entire Silicon Valley Bank financial group crisis, is what I would say. So Roblox, it has a lot of cash. Well, compared to its overall free cash that they have, it's kind of small, but still they're involved with this entire debacle here. So this company is still in some hot water. However, the share price here hasn't really been showing any type of a large sell-off, which was surprising to me. Now, I've already noted early last week, that this one has been holding really well, and I didn't know why, but Meta and Roblox, both of them were really holding up, and due to the fact that we've been holding up so well with relative strength, we start to form a nice bull flag, right? And this bull flag ranges from a support at $39 to a resistance of $42. And if we continue to consolidate between 39 and 42, we will continue, obviously, to make this bull flag, and we will continue to stay above the 10 and 21 SMAs. And I was surprised that on Friday, Roblox did not see a break below the 10 and the 21, or even a close below any of these two momentum SMAs. So that tells me that there is a possibility that we can see continued sideways action until we are able to break over 42. And once we do see that breakout over 42, I will ultimately be able to see a golden cross where the 50 SMA on the daily time frame crosses over this daily 200 SMA. Now, the only reason why I say that is that, well, the daily 50 SMA is curling up higher, and it's getting very, very close to converging with the daily 200 SMA, which is currently trying to flatline. So if you do see that break over the 200 SMA by the 50 SMA, that will give us that long-term conviction and sentiment to the upside, while the price continues to hold above the 10 and 21 and riding the momentum higher over $42. So obviously this will be a speculative play. So don't go around trying to, just buy a lot of shares or contracts at any level of support on Roblox. All right, that is it for this video. Make sure you guys are trading with minimum risk this week. And especially if we start to see that this market for this week is a scalper's market, make sure you guys either sit on your hands and stay cash, or look for intraday opportunities to get in and out very, very quickly. Good luck tomorrow, and I'll see you all in the morning. Thank you all for watching.